Hi, this is Micornus Phokane, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. We are continuing today. We're speaking about different types of leadership that you can actually embark on in churches, different types of leaderships. And that's while we're dealing with church leadership, there are different kinds of leaders that we speak about. And today I want to dwell on what we call inspirational leaders or inspirationals, which is actually what we call the personable leadership style or what we call inspirational leadership style. Very, very important that we embark on this one so that you can understand what type of leadership is in this regard. I just want to give some context in this type of a leadership and speak a little bit about it. And then we'll speak about the strengths of this type of a leadership and, of course, some weaknesses that will therefore emerge when you lead in this type of leadership style. Now, inspirationals are people-orientated leaders. These are the people that are focused on people and they want to inspire people, and that is why they focus on people. They are people-orientated type of leaders who bring this strength to ministries that need more relational orientation. Now, in this case, you'll realize that a pastor that is an inspirational leader will actually focus on relationships more with the people. He will relate with his own leadership board. He will relate with his own elders and relate with the congregation itself. And that becomes very key. And inspirational leaders are therefore focusing on that skill and that knowledge that relationships are very, very important. Like the directors, as I've spoken about directors earlier, inspirational leaders are often gravitating to lead positions, especially in church context. So they basically will actually appoint people as well, put people into positions, and make sure that those people are inspired, because these are inspirational leaders, inspired to actually lead others as well. So they lead best in ministry situations that call for inspirational or motivational context. The compelling and exciting, sincere person as well. They're like that. They're actually motivational, they are inspiring, they are exciting people, and they're strong in that. That's what we call inspirational leaders. And pastors like that are actually often relating with the people and motivating the people, as I say, inspiring them as well. Now, inspirationals leaders or pastors, they're preferring to work in teams, and most of the time they will put up teams to work with them. And also when they've got a leadership board or their own elders, they would actually work as a team. They would report to the team of leaders that they work together, and they will do things together. They won't do it alone. So this is what we call inspirational leaders. Now, inspirational leaders, they like to share leadership. They don't run things on their own. They share with their leaders, as I've said, and they want people to enjoy ministry. So they insist on having fun, and they will go out onto picnics. They will make sure that they go to fun walks, and they will do all these things because they want people to enjoy ministry. They want people to love what they're doing in ministry. And inspirational leaders would always drive by exciting the people. And I'm sure you would know some of the few pastors or that are like that, or yourself, you are able maybe to identify yourself in this type of a style of leadership. It's all good for you to know that, because it's very important that one knows where they are. Inspirational leaders, they don't do well in strong, controlling environments where there's little freedom to lead and express themselves, and will work hard at changing such circumstances. So where there's too much control, where there's too much, don't do that. Where there's too much limitation, they don't feel comfortable. So inspirational leaders, they want freedom of functioning, whereby people function and make decisions on their own. You empower the people to make decisions, and when they make decisions that you will trust and believe in. Inspirational leaders are doing that, and they trust the people's decisions. And when you have allocated people to lead departments, you allow them to make decisions of their own that are for the good of the ministry. And that's the way inspirational leaders are leading or are conducting themselves. There are change agents, of course, indeed. There are change agents who are open to new ways of ministry. And they said, fast pace for ministries they had. Most of the time, they are open minded. They will even take suggestions from their own members. They take suggestions from their own subordinates, and they are able to implement those. And most of the time, inspirational leaders, you'll realize that they don't take glory on something that was not suggested by them. So if it was suggested by a member, they will actually elevate that member in a way of recognizing them that this was their idea. Inspirational leaders are not intimidated by ideas of others. Rather, they accept those ideas and implement them. And that's very, very key that as a pastor, you look at that, you scrutinize yourself and say, what type of a leader am I? And if you're inspirational indeed, that is what we are speaking about. Inspirational leaders, they make good pastors generally in a variety of situations. Why? Because such people are able to plant churches. You are able to do what we call church planting. And they're able also to lead what we call healthy church as well. Because what they do is they're able to adjust to every situation of leading a church. Inspirational leaders are actually able to maneuver around situations and different contexts as well. And they are able to make sure that they lead the church in different environments as well. And they are very versatile in nature. And that is why we say they are very, very good in leading. They will struggle somewhat in difficult situations where people are fighting with one another, and will work hard at bringing them together. Will work hard on reconciling them, because remember that inspirational leaders, they always lead by wanting people to relate. These are the type of pastors that will actually bring people to reconcile them before we move on. They don't ignore issues. They don't ignore conflicts. They make sure that they address those conflicts by bringing people together and discussing to make sure that things are resolved before we continue. Now, inspirational leaders, they perform best in situations where they have moderate control. Things are neither completely under nor out of control at all. So they're actually in moderate situations. They survive in that. They thrive very well there, as opposed to very high or minimal controlled places. And as I've said also, that if they are totally under control, they in a place that is too much controlled, they're not comfortable in there. And that's the reason why they want places where their versatility of approach, where people can actually make decisions, as I said, and allowed to make decisions. Inspirational leaders with strong director qualities are very good at revitalizing churches, of course. And that's one thing that you must remember, that this type of leaderships, they may actually be conjunctively used together. You may have one person who does very well in a certain type of leadership, but yet still have some qualities of the other type of leadership as well. I want to speak a little bit about the strengths of inspirational pastors or inspirational leaders. Some temperamental assessment tools called inspirational leaders influencers, because they tend to be natural leaders as well. They don't struggle to lead. They're actually very natural in their leadership, because they relate with the people, by the way, as I've said. And the more they relate with the people, the more they find it a bit more easier to lead the people. And it has actually been shown in research that these people are influencers of note, and they influence the people easier because they relate with the people, and they become natural leaders, especially in relating well to others. People who work with them appreciate their visionary capabilities and the warmth that they give to the people. They're personable way they relate with the people as well. They're very, very important, because when you relate with the people, people tend to love you. People tend to love that style and be comfortable with it, and they start to work more harder to actually assist and support you. That's the strength of inspirational pastors or inspirational leaders in the church. While being sensitive to a ministry's history. Inspirational leaders will also have a nose for new opportunities because they are not actually just stuck on one way, although they are more relational in nature. But when there are opportunities to progress or to develop a more better opportunity, they will actually step into that. They are open to those new opportunities as well. They are good troubleshooters as well. When there is a problem, they will troubleshoot much more easier and very good as well. And they will use others and the skills of others to troubleshoot as well. In crisis, they are able to garner teams and bring people to sort out some issues because they would have people that they relate with. That's very, very key. And such pastors are very successful in leading their churches. And they have ability to inspire people to work together in good spirits as well. And because of that, teams get together to run. When you run a conference as a inspirational pastor, you run it easily because you've got teams together that are running different type of departments or different types of tasks, and they are able to complete that because it's enough hands that will be carrying the work. Very, very important. Now, inspirational leaders are often articulate, or and if they preach or teach, they speak with emotions, and their style of evangelism is very, very relational. And that is why most of the time you find that when they're preaching, emotional, their evangelism becomes a bit more emotional, and people actually get taken up and accept the Lord as a personal savior because it is really touchy. It's really very emotional. They bring it home clearly, and even non-believers understand the type of evangelism here. In fact, generally they relate to people on a more emotional level, and what they do is they don't use much. It's not much intellect. They're actually more emotional. They're more closer to the people's emotions as well, and because of that, they are liked by many people or many of their followers, and they are influential in that regard, and they are actually followed by their members easily. In their messages, they seek to inspire, to motivate with insight from scriptures, of course. Some gravitate towards and enjoy counseling and supporting others as well. So they would make sure that even after ministering, they will support others, and they'll make sure that they have personal touch with them. They counsel them on one-to-one sometimes, and because they are relational in nature. I want to just speak before I close about some weaknesses of inspirational leaders, because there are not only positives, of course, there are some negatives about it, and we need to really bring that up so that we are aware that it's not all lovey-dovey about inspirational pastors, but there are some few things that we need to highlight. Some inspirational pastors, they can be loud and obnoxious, of course. They enjoy being the center of attraction sometimes, center of things, and they often bothers the followers when they want attention, when they want to be the center of attraction actually. The inspirational leaders or pastors, sometimes they struggle with details. They struggle with rules and unpleasant tasks as well because they are not actually director focused. They are people that are not task focused. They're focused on relationships, and they don't want to offend the people, and they don't want to find themselves on the wrong side with the people. And as a result, they don't follow rules sometimes. They bend the rules because they want to accommodate people, and that's very, very concerning generally, and because they are trying to impress the people, make sure that everybody's happy. And believe me, it's not everybody who can be happy at any given time. They want to be liked by the people, liked by all the people. Consequently, they seek to please everyone. And that is problematic as well, because, and that's a little bit of a negative about inspirational leaders. This means that they will shy away from confronting issues sometimes. Those who are problematic, they will not confront them. They will actually leave people to do how they wish. And people, when they do what they wish, you end up not actually being able to hold the handle as a leader. And as inspirational leader, you lose it when you don't actually discipline the people. Because inspirational leaders, generally, they need to be more objective. when making decisions, and they need to make fewer promises as well, because sometimes they promise quite a lot and never deliver on those promises because they're aimed at pleasing people. While inspirational pastors are strong relationally, they may struggle at accomplishing necessary leadership tasks as well. Starting projects, struggle a little bit with that they never finish sometimes when they've started projects. Because when the newness wanes, they become bored and restless. When the freshness of that project goes, they start finding it to be monotonous, and sometimes they leave it and not complete the task that was at hand. And often they miss deadlines as well. They ignore paperwork, and they misjudge others' abilities as well, and they may not manage their time very well as well. That's some weaknesses that you find in inspirational leaders. I want to end up here today, your host, Micornus Phokane. I hope that you've learned quite a bit out of this type of a pastor or a type of a leader in church. And as you have listened, please note our Facebook page. Just like Facebook page, Micornus Phokane, and that one, Church Covenant Solutions. And also remember also to follow us on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, be part of it, and I believe so much that God will bless you as you do that. And allow me to check out right here and say cheers for now.